gusts of wind still occurring today. It's dropped a lot in terms of the temperature, but at least it's sunny, I guess. And what's going on today? It's kind of interesting reading, I guess, this one first. You've often heard where there's a lot of places banning drones made from China. For example, companies like DJI, when it comes to government work, for example, like in the US. Well, how about this one? Imagine your police department stocking up on all these drones, and then I guess later they might have to potentially replace them for security reasons. This one says, police use of Chinese drones risks UK security. Officers urged to be vigilant with technology as task force ordered to review equipment. The use of Chinese-made drones by British police forces has sparked security fears in the government amid increasing concerns about attempts by Beijing to gather intelligence on the West. More than two-thirds of drones operated by police forces in the UK are made by a Chinese firm that is blacklisted in the US as a national security risk, according to the data obtained by the Telegraph. I would assume they mean DJI drones because they've been showing the pictures. They're all inspired drones, it seems like. It says a Home Office source said the Home Secretary would want the police to ensure all their data is secure and not vulnerable to any interference by a foreign state. She does have concerns about the use of Chinese technology here in the UK and will continue to work to keep the British people safe. The move comes amid a growing diplomatic row between the US and China after Washington accused Beijing of flying spy balloons over its airspace after shooting down 4 objects in just over a week. So it keeps going on and on, I guess. Kind of reminds me when it comes to data, when Parrot released their Anafi USA drone and all that, they basically made it a point where they say their data is secure, and they kept, I guess, bashing DJI, saying all the research or reports that they release saying it's secure, it's kind of biased according to them anyway. So it's kind of like a battle where you choose, for example, a different company just pure based on things like this, data security. I guess for a regular consumer it might be a little bit more, it's more about cost and so forth, but I would imagine stuff like that plays a big factor when it comes to things like official use and all that. Let's see what happens afterwards. And I thought this was kind of interesting because, as you know, when someone flies a drone, let's just say for fun or just capturing footage, nowadays there's a lot of, quote, drone police, people who try to, I guess, attack people for doing nothing wrong. Or at the same time, I always said, what happens if there's more people flying it perfectly safe, capturing, let's just say, the scenery, and they accidentally discover something? Because many times, even with accidents, police with cars, for example, they would say, hey, do you have a dash cam because there was an accident during this time at this place? If you have dash cam, please notify us. So this one was kind of interesting because there was apparently a missing person, and the police, I guess, discovered there was a drone flying around. So they thought, hey, who's flying there? Maybe you got some evidence, because this one here says what? Seeking drone operator from January 19th. It's from the Pacifica Police Department. It says here, on January 26th, the Pacifica Police Department posted that we were hoping to find a drone operator in the area of 100 Esplanade on January 19th when Hamza Al-Suda was reported as missing and last seen in the waters of Esplanade Beach. The Pacifica Police Department did receive a message from a person claiming to be that drone operator. However, no contact information was left by this subject. So it's kind of interesting because usually in these types of stories, when it comes to someone flying a drone and the police, it's them trying to stop someone, saying, hey, you're doing this, quote, illegal and so forth. But it makes me wonder why in this case, I guess the person didn't leave a name or anything, because it makes you wonder, what if this person was flying, let's just say, without registration or doing any of those tests in the US? Would you actually come forward afterwards? Or at the same time, let's just say he had video footage that actually showed the missing person. Would he get, quote, fined or punished even though he did something good afterwards and he was doing it perfectly safe? That's kind of interesting to think about, actually. That would be kind of interesting to think about. I had that example before, if you guys remember, where I could have used a drone to potentially find a missing person, but you had ignorant police officers basically delay the situation, saying, oh, no, it's illegal to fly here and there. I'm like, that's not how it works. But like in that case, for example, would you fly it anyways if it meant saving someone's life, despite the fact that you might have people punish you afterwards with fines and so forth? Or worse, like those people, again, that drone police, other people saying, what, it's illegal here, it's dangerous there, even though in reality, most people are doing it in a perfectly safe way. And there was unfortunately a lot of tragic news, it sounded like today, but actually one that stood out to me, it made me wonder, why isn't this actually getting more attention? Is there something going on with this? Because apparently there's a place in Ohio, there was a train that had all these toxic chemicals or something like that, and it was purposely afterwards, I guess, blown up, and the aftermath of that, it's apparently polluting the water, animals and stuff are dying, but again, there doesn't seem to be much attention on it. It's kind of interesting. Like this guy here says what? While East Palestine residents are being told by Norfolk Southern and Ohio officials that everything is safe after the toxic controlled release, I'm here and witnessing creeks filled with dead frogs and fish. So you can see all these videos and stuff, which pretty much shows what he says. And in other videos, you can see there's a huge explosion. Again, apparently this was done purposely, like after that train crash or something like that. Even people like this reporter, I believe, says here, my camera was rolling when officials detonated explosives inside the derailed train in East Palestine. So that's kind of interesting to think about too, again, because if it's true where all these contaminated materials are infecting the water and so forth, wouldn't that basically potentially harm a lot of humans too? If they're consuming it and then let's say officials are saying, well, there's nothing wrong, like move on. Kind of like what this one says here. It says they're testing the water outside East Palestine and the results are not good. The contaminated water is bleaching all the colors out of these squares. There is obviously something in this water in large quantity that is being hidden. Or then this other one, it says what Governor Mike DeWine called it absurd that the train that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio was not considered a high hazardous material train despite carrying vinyl chloride. DeWine asked Congress to further investigate the incident. That's kind of crazy. I did read some posts where people are claiming when they tried to talk about it, they got censored in some way, even for example in person. So I don't know what's going on, but it's just kind of interesting to think about how that doesn't sound like it's too big, where in reality, if that's true, there's huge, let's just say, pollution in the air, the water and so forth, and all these reports of animals just dying. I believe there was one I saw of someone that had a farm or something like that with chickens. They all died, like, I don't know, a few days after they detonated this. So it's kind of crazy to think about where it's under the radar for some reason. Alright, see you guys later.